I ended my relationship over a telenovela scene. So I, F29, have had a relationship with this guy, M34, for the last 3 years. Yesterday, after a long day at work, I sat to watch the telenovela Teresa on my laptop. For context, the telenovela Teresa is about a young and intelligent woman, desperately seeking to leave the grinding poverty of the neighborhood where she lives, which causes her to have a miserable and resentful life. Making plans to escape the life of poverty surrounding her, she uses her beauty and often manipulates men in order to gain money from them. As I was watching the series, my boyfriend joined an hour later and we watched it together for a while. Keep in mind that whenever I'm watching something, I'm always involved in the storyline and react with enthusiasm whenever I see a scene I find interesting. This became a problem when I laughed at a particular point in the series, specifically, when Teresa seduces Fernando, her husband's best friend and sister-in-law's fiancé, making him break off his engagement and give himself completely to her, just so she can rob him of all of his money. After Fernando understands her plans, it is already too late as Teresa has sold his companies and kept her money for herself. The scene ended with her dancing around the house shouting "I am a millionaire" and saying her famous line between being and not being, "I am." At this particular moment, I laughed at the scene as I found it funny and engaging since the actress playing the role of Teresa is incredibly talented. When the episode ended, I looked over at my boyfriend and noticed that he was being very silent and weird. I asked him what was wrong and he immediately started yelling at me about how women, myself included, reinforce such behaviors as laughing as a means of cheering them on. That the one thing we all ultimately want is to financially drain a man, only for us to move on to the next without remorse. I tried to communicate that it is just a series and that he should have known me better, but to no avail. Mind you, this man has been living in my apartment 5 days per week, takeout is mostly paid by me, he never contributes to bills, although he is using way more electricity than I do, and I have bought him a significant amount of expensive presents such as video games, merch, and even a Nintendo Switch. Furthermore, he has never spent a cent on me since all dates were either paid by me or we would go 50-50, and all of his gifts to me were handmade or bought by his mother. After he finished yelling, he had the audacity to say to me, "I bet you'll also be a blood-sucking gold digger soon enough. I know how you have been trying to improve your appearance to get a better guy in the market. I just tried to lose some weight for my health and got my hair colored ginger." At the end of his breakdown, he told me that he wants to break up since he did not expect that behavior from me. After he finished talking, I stared at the wall for about 40 seconds trying to process what went down in my house. I got up and started packing all of his things in a big bag. He tried to tell me that he did not mean it, that he is still mad at me but he needs some time to think about it and make a final decision. I simply stated that this decision is no longer his to make, that this breakdown was the last thing I needed after a tiring day at work, that nobody has the right to control how I will react and what scene I will laugh to, that I do not accept anyone using such nonsense to insult and gaslight me, that I had made it clear that stressing me out in my own house has been a big no from the beginning, and that he is a man baby who does not know how to show some loving and appreciation to a person who clearly had no bad intentions and simply wanted to unwind while watching something. I also told him that I expect him to send me all of the money I spent on him, including food, traveling costs, bills of him pulling all-nighters using my internet and electricity to play his video games, personal hygiene items, etc, etc, etc. He is currently staying with his mom. I am currently making a list of whatever he owes me and my home is finally leech-free. Maybe I do need to implement some of Teresa's strategies after all. Sprinkle sprinkle. Edit. For the people saying that my story seems suspicious because my reaction was out of character since I had been letting him leech off me for a long time before exploding like this, my ex had never attacked me like this before and had only been staying in my apartment for the last year, not for the entirety of our relationship. Before he, almost, moved in, we would always go 50-50 on dates. I always knew that he would rather rely on me than be the provider, but I never imagined he would insult me like this, so I was being patient hoping he'd find a good job and change his mindset. Stupid of me, I know. I knew he had low self-esteem, but I would never imagine he would take it out on me like this. So this was the final blow.